Hi, we are Blake and
Brittany.
That's hard to do. All right. And on this episode of What the Heck Are We Doing in Ecuador?
Also known as Average Family Abroad.
We're going to go over, what are we going over?
Some things that we've learned are written differently in Ecuador than in the United States. And we're not talking about English versus Spanish, which is obvious.
Numbers.
And other things, surprising things, and some very important things. And that not knowing will make your life more complicated on a number of levels. So we're going to introduce you to those things. We don't have an eraser.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Our first one is probably one of the most important ones as well. Because imagine showing up to a doctor's appointment on the wrong date. What date is this, Blake, that you are writing?
I don't know. What date is it?
Well, it's April 12th, 2026.
Or in Ecuador, it's actually December 4th, 2026.
So when you get higher up in the months, that, there's not 31 months, for instance, and so it's more obvious. But with the first half of the months, you can very easily get confused if you don't know what you're looking for. And it's, in English, we put month and then day and then year. That's how we speak. But in Spanish, they say the 4th of December, 2026, or it's the day of the month. And so the day comes first, not the month. And always, there's never an exception to that. So if you're communicating with any, Ecuadorian, for instance, and giving a date, it's going to be day, month, year.
But anytime you see it written anywhere, it'll always be the day and then the month, no matter what. Even if it's without 2026, it's always the day and then the month. And that's common, not just here, obviously. That's common in lots of places of the world.
Yeah.
But be aware, because that will trip you up and you will get confused.
And you will go to things on the wrong day.
Yes.
So that's number one, dates. Number two, so long numbers. Blake is going to write a long number as it would be found in Ecuador. Wait. Oh, I see. Is that, tricky. It's being tricky.
All right. So this number.
It looks like a disaster in English, right?
This would be 1,067 with period in English, decimal point 45, right? Or in dollars, $1,000, 67.45. And so here in Ecuador, and I'm sure other parts of the world as well, they use a comma instead of a decimal point, and they use the decimal to, divide.
Instead of a comma.
Yeah, exactly. So, you've got 1,067
and 45 cents.
And so, yes, this always trip you up looking at numbers, or on the banking app when you're trying to transfer someone money.
Yes, you can easily
and it goes
make a mistake.
00,00.
Known people who have made mistakes and transferred egregiously incorrect amounts of money.
So you're like, oh, okay, you just, $150 when you did not intend to send $150. So another one to be aware of. Commas are used in place of decimal places.
And decimal points are...
Decimal points in place of commas.
Yeah.
So
nothing confusing there.
And every form of math and everywhere you find numbers.
Yes.
All right.
And number 3 are numerals themselves and one letter.
Okay. So let's do an example. This is the number 1. And so they use this huge, exaggerated...
angly guy here, not just a straight line.
And then that would be a traditional 7, right? But they'll use the 7 with a line.
Yeah, they put the line on, which really helps. Because otherwise, without this little line, I'm like, and even because we're not trained to use the little line, and so my eye says 7 when I see that. So, and you need to make your numbers like this too, not just reading other people's numbers. And then...
Go ahead.
There's the letter zeta, which also comes with a little line, which is kind of fun. So something to be aware of. Another thing, what's number 4?
Cursive. Cursive is still widely and heavily used.
And prized.
Yeah. Yes. It's still taught in school. Most people communicate when they write handwritten stuff is all done in cursive.
Beautiful cursive.
Beautiful cursive. They write very well here. And so unlike in the West where everything has become manuscript or everything's digital, but
but handwriting is
cursive is still widely prized. And so if you're learning how to read Spanish and then learning how to read it in cursive,
it's hard. Okay, so for example, in Spanish, it's a very swoopy language. If I'm going to write llego a la una, which means I arrive at 1. Watch. Which is probably not totally correct because my cursive is very subpar. But look at all these swoops. You had 2 L's in a row, an E in there, and this U and this N. And so you get someone, writing this beautiful, almost antiquated looking cursive in Spanish. And it's just pure swoops sometimes to me. It's hard to read. So be prepared for lots of cursive. So many loops and swoops. Okay. This is a fun one. Number 5.
Number 5, addresses. So there's no mail service in Ecuador. There's no national mail service. There are plenty of ways to send stuff to each other, but there's no traditional postal service. Yeah. And so addresses are in the cities. You have an address.
Yeah, you'll have cross streets.
You'll have cross streets and building numbers and such. But it still doesn't function the same as it does in the West or in the U.S.
And outside of the city, there's nothing like that at all.
Where we live, there's not even street names really.
No, there's no. Yeah.
And so here, addresses are very commonly where do they live? Oh, next to this person's house. And you're supposed to know who that other person is. Or it's, up the hill over there, the White House.
With the blue door.
Yeah, if you pass that one, it's the gate, the green gate. And then you go up the road again, and it's that one house with the cow.
Yeah, that's literally, what will be on your banking information. You'll have, it'll say your barrio, maybe, and a few distinguishing features.
Yeah.
Next door.
Our bank account just says, White House on the hill, essentially is what it says for our address. So.
It's so funny. I mean, it's not quite charades or Pictionary, but not too far off. So, good luck giving your address. It's not easy, and it's raining again and windy. It was sunny when we set up. All right, number 6. Okay, names. We're going to do a whole video on names because names here are really fascinating. But you almost always, when you see names written out here, will be last name, first name, second name. So if you're not familiar with Spanish names, you're at a disadvantage because you may not even know what's a last name and what's a first name, much less what's a second name. And you will also find your name. Imagine you're at a school program and everyone's names are written out and they're all these beautiful, long Spanish, Romance language names. And then you have, say, Blake is a student at the school. You'll have Bowen, Blake. It's
and
that's it.
And it's funny here
because
all the
long names.
There'll be so many instances where every form or every online thing you're filling out will have space for you to put all 4 names,
all
right?
4.
That are typical. And I remember one time we stayed at a hotel in Guayaquil, and they had to fill in all 4.
Yeah, they didn't have it wasn't optional.
It wasn't optional. And so
4 names.
Even though we're not Canadian, but they put, what did they put?
They put Blake Canadian.
No, it was Bowen Blake, Canada.
Yeah. Something. Bowen Blake, Canada. Yep. That's good enough.
But yeah, but what Brittany's referring to, what you'll see is the 2 last names always come, right? Just like in the United States when you've got this, right? Bowen, Blake.
But that's not, I feel like a lot of times first names come first for things in the United States.
Well, sure, but
always last
but
name.
it's not uncommon to have a last name.
No, not uncommon for sure.
But here, you have to get through a lot of last name before you even know who you're talking about if you don't know.
Yeah. And also, and we'll touch on this in the names video, but second names are not the same thing as middle names.
Yeah.
They're treated very, very differently.
They're essentially just 2 first names.
Yeah, and they'll be used interchangeably. It can be very confusing and very funny. And so our middle names, which are kind of honorific, we hardly ever use, are not the same thing as an Ecuadorian second name. So names different. Okay, moving on.
Thunder.
Ooh. We've had rainbow. We've had, hard rain, soft rain. Now we're having wind.
And thunder.
So that's fun.
All right. Okay. Time, number 7. So in Ecuador, It goes both ways. 24-hour time is very, very common, or military time, right? So you've got a 24-hour clock, right? So you go from 1 all the way through 23:59.
Yeah, so I might have a meeting at school at 14:30, and I'll have to be like, huh, and I'll have to figure it out.
But not only that, but they also write it. I can't write. They also will write it. My marker's not working.
Oh no.
14H30.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the H to signify the 14th hour, and then obviously 30 minutes.
Yes. It's 2:30, right?
2:30,
yeah, I'm getting better at it. That was something totally new, and I did mess up a couple of times.
But you
also see the 12-hour clock sometimes, but they don't say AM and PM though.
No, they don't say AM and PM unless they know some English. Sometimes they'll use it, but no, by and large, you have to say in la tarde, dos en la tarde.
Yeah. This is way more common though. Like all school communications use the 24-hour time.
All official stuff uses the 24-hour.
Something to be aware of. Maybe you want to practice a little bit if you're coming here.
It's not that hard.
It's a little hard. A little hard. I don't like numbers. Okay. This is fun. Grades in school. So if you have school-age children and they're going to school, I don't mean like the grade that they're in, but the grades they receive on assignments. Nothing to do with letters. It's just a simple 0 to 10 scale. So no A's for efforts or C for average. No letters at all.
This is an A.
That's an A.
You have to get a 7 or above to pass.
Yeah. So a longer scale, and no letters. It's not quite as cute to see written on a paper.
Yeah, numbers are not as cute as A, B, C, D.
A pluses.
No.
Yeah. No.
All right. Number 9. We should get this done before we get.
Oh boy, this is a big one. This is again definitely not unique to Ecuador, but same for like everywhere in the world.
Like everywhere, they use symmetric system.
Almost always.
Not all the time.
There are some, yeah. We'll see pounds. We'll see gallons.
Yep, those are fairly common. Gas is sold in gallons.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the kids, will get asked at school how tall they are, and they don't know. Or if someone asks me, and I don't know because it's centimeters, right?
Uh-huh.
How many centimeters are you? It's like, what? I don't know. And so.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, centimeters and kilograms and so on. So, right?
Yep. So just metric system, just like most of the world. So,
yes. But I mean, it's like I have a lot of my recipes, for instance, are, in the imperial system. So I have to do a lot of converting, getting better at it for sure. And that also relates to Celsius and Fahrenheit. Everything is in Celsius here, which I'm not awesome at converting still. You're better than me.
Yeah. I don't ever convert. I just now know what temperatures correlate to what temperatures in Fahrenheit. So
thunder. Thankfully, there's a pretty small window of temperatures here, but
yes,
I don't know. Again, cooking, it's different. My oven is in Celsius, and
that and also in traffic, right? So everything is in kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour. So 30, 40, 50, 60 kilometers per hour is not the same as in the United States. So definitely be aware of that. And obviously,
that's a big difference. Yeah.
Yes, very big difference.
Yeah, they don't use miles at all here.
No,
that would be very confusing for them. So that's a big change.
Number 10. Let's go on.
Sorry,
get out of here.
Okay. Oh, this is our favorite. This was such a surprise to find out about. Will you demonstrate some nice typical American tally marks, please, for our audience?
All right. So the United States, we'd be like, what?
Oh no, it's you.
It's me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So satisfying, right? But when I'll never forget the first time I was in a class meeting and they started doing tally marks for voting for something. And what did the teacher start doing? Okay, hopefully I do this right. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Oh no, I'm already failing. 4, 5. They make boxes for their tally marks. It's so funny. It's so different. I don't know where else in the world they make boxes. I would love to hear. So, or sometimes, you're left with an incomplete box. Very not satisfying to have an incomplete box.
So when you're looking at, like, when you're ordering at a restaurant or something and the waiter is making little marks. Yeah. Like just kind of making little lines. Or if someone gives you something, right, that you're supposed to count how many.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Something like this. Usually it goes from the side.
Does it?
Yeah. They go like that. And then there's an empty space, then 4 or 5.
Okay.
But But yeah, so be aware. Instead of our the straight up and down lines, they make a cute little box.
Cute little box.
All right.
What have we missed? Ecuadorians or foreigners living in Ecuador. What have we missed? And also, please do subscribe to Average Family Abroad if you have not done so. We're going to go inside and get out of this crazy
we need
weather.
to get out before we get struck by lightning or everything gets wet.
It's very lovely, though. It's nice and cool.
Fantastic weather. Just not great for filming. So,
but thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.